Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm excited to share our guest with you. But before we get started, I want to say thank you to some people that we always thank. We want to thank brassandwinds.com. Whenever we're looking for brass or wind instruments for our school, we go to brassandwinds.com first. Brass and Winds are great people, and we recommend that you check them out. If you're interested in studying with us, Truer MU is a better way to learn the piano. We have video courses for elementary jazz and elementary blues, all the way up to expert, and we'd be excited to work with you. If you'd like to work with us in person, please visit willowschoolga.com, a better way to learn music. Now, my guest today is one of the many people that I met through Bree Noble, and I'm happy to introduce her to you. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Jaquie Daniels is a singer-songwriter in the folk acoustic genre based in Southampton, UK. She's influenced by artists such as the Beatles, Simon and Garfunkel, and Joni Mitchell. She blends contemporary and neo-traditional folk, telling topical and touching stories of real life. Her songs reflect her desire to inspire, entertain, and amuse. Jaquie accompanies herself mostly on guitar, but also on mandolin and cello. She regularly performs at local folk clubs and on open mic sessions, and has recorded 5 albums and 2 EPs, which are available on CD and digital music sites. Jaquie Daniels, welcome to our show.
Hello, happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. Now, you're located in Southampton, and we're doing our interview from the United States. Everybody here knows London, but maybe not so much Southampton. Would you tell us a little bit about where you live?
Well, it's not very far from London. It's just over an hour on the train, and it's on the south coast, right in more or less in the middle of the south coast. Anybody's familiar with England at all? It's a major port. A lot of the cruise liners stop. It's one of the main stops on the cruises. So we do. Before lockdown, we were getting cruise visitors into Southampton. So that was so tourism is one of the industries in Southampton.
And also music. I was reading when I read about Southampton that there are quite a few musicians of note from there. Is that correct?
Yes, Craig David, soul singer, used to go to City College Southampton, which is where I worked for a while. I don't know if we crossed paths when he was there, because he became famous while I was working there, and I was working in the marketing department, and my boss was always trying to get him to come into the college to try and do some promotion with us, but sadly he was never available, so we missed out on that one. But and also that he worked with someone called the Artful Dodger, who has a studio in Southampton, over on the west side somewhere.
Okay. So you mentioned that you were doing marketing when you were in college. That's a skill that a lot of musicians, especially singer-songwriters, need. Did you set out to be a singer-songwriter from the beginning, or were you a marketer first and then moved into singer-songwriting?
Well, I started writing songs at the age of 12, and
Oh, wow.
I was actually living in the US at the time, because my dad worked for IBM, and he had an assignment out there for 2 years. So we were living in New York State, near Poughkeepsie. That was where the IBM offices were, and so I attended both elementary and junior high school, because I was 11 when we went out there, and I started listening to the Beatles a lot when we were there, because my parents bought some of their albums, and they also had a couple of Simon and Garfunkel albums. I used to listen to that music all the time, because I loved the melodies and the harmonies, and I loved trying to harmonize with them as well. And I was inspired to write my first song, which was called "I Wish I Was Back in Old England Now," which which was sort of a bit, about being a bit homesick. I was because I was a bit of a loner. I always have been a bit of a loner, and music was my escape. And so that's that song. I can remember the tune, but unfortunately, I wrote down the words, but I lost them, and I can't remember the words.
I bet I can guess a couple of
Lost in
them.
the mist of time. Hmm.
It probably said something about how you wish you were back in good old England, probably.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can remember the sentiment behind it, but not the actual words.
Right.
Hmm.
So you were only in the US a couple of years. You had come from Southampton and then went back to Southampton? Is that?
I was actually born in a town called Twickenham, which is near London,
Ah.
and that's the name of one of the songs on this new album that I'm releasing.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that later. Can we get back to Twickenham in a bit?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we'll
sure.
get back to the song in a bit, but that's where you were born.
Hmm. We lived in a village halfway between Southampton and Portsmouth, and where I went to school. And this we originally moved there just before we went to the States, and then came back after the 2 years, and that was home for my parents for quite a long time after that. Um, and I went away to college to Birmingham um, when I was 18. Where and this is sort of where the marketing comes in, because I did a degree in business studies, and I did marketing and marketing research as part of the course. So that was what sort of led me into doing marketing at this city college years later. And I was able to use a bit of the knowledge um, that I'd learned on the course, but I was actually the administrator in the marketing department. So I dealt with um, things like doing mailing lists and keeping a track of where we were being featured in the local press. And I also monitored the department's budget. And I had a couple of other. I moved from there into the purchasing department for a little while, and then finally Learner Records, where I was doing more sort of data entry sort of work.
Were you writing songs all this time, or was this something that you moved into?
It was while I was living in Birmingham, I was in and out of work for a while, and while I was between jobs, I remember seeing this there was a series about the 70s, and on one particular program they had singer-songwriters, and one of them was Janice Ian, who I'd heard of several years before. She played a song called At 17, which is probably her most well-known song, and it really struck a chord with me, and I thought, oh, I'd really like to write a song like that. And that was how I got back into it. I was in my late 20s then.
Oh, wow, that's quite a gap. How long had it been since you were that kid writing songs?
So it had been at least 10 years since I'd properly sat down and written a song. So
why did you stop?
I think it was just I guess got so busy with schoolwork, and I didn't expect to go into music at that point. I thought I would get a proper job.
And what changed your mind?
I think it was hearing this song, and then I I I borrowed a book from the local library about songwriting, and it it mentioned Joni Mitchell, another songwriter I'd heard of back in my teens, and so sort of analysing these songs, it made me realise that that was what I wanted to do.
You also mentioned Carole King in your
And I Carole King was another one that was, I think she may be mentioned in the book as well. And I bought her album Tapestry, and I was really struck by how many great songs she'd written that were on that particular album, because she revisited some of the songs that she'd written back in the 60s, like Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, and You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman.
When you say great songs, what's your criteria for a great song?
I think it's one that tells a story, or it gives or sort of purveys a certain emotion. Well, something that can touch other people, because it's something that people experience in their lives as well. So whether it's about their love life or life in general.
So you've said you were very shy and that songwriting helped connect you to other people. It sounds like the songs themselves, not just the act of singing songs, but that the songs themselves are important to you to connect you with people.
I think so. Yeah. I get a great buzz when people say, "Oh, I really like that song." It's that it resounds with them, or maybe they start singing along with it when I'm performing, which which I got when I was performing live in folk clubs and open mic sessions. It's a great feeling when people sing along, because it shows that they're getting into it.
Absolutely. Would you like to perform a song for us today?
Yes, I thought I'd do one of my more light-hearted songs. It's it's about because you mentioned I play cello. I've played with youth orchestras and amateur orchestras over the year, and this particular song is called "It's Only a Rehearsal." And I actually wrote it for a songwriting competition on the theme of mistakes, because I thought with mistakes, I thought of all the sort of things that can go wrong during a rehearsal. So, and it's an a cappella song, so I don't need the guitar for this. So.
All right, well, let's hear it.
7 p.m. on Sunday, the music's on the stand. Instruments are being tuned, my bow is in my hand. The conductor starts us off to play. It's not this piece I find, but it's only a rehearsal. I'll get it right next time. And now we're playing happily, the tunes are flowing free. But what's this funny noise? Oh, we've actually changed key. 5 flats? Oh dear. Well, it could sound quite sublime, but it's only a rehearsal. I'll get it right next time. And now it's going at a pace with semi-quaver runs. You keep 20 fingers to play this, that's not counting the thumbs. And now it's getting worse, up the scale we climb. But it's only a rehearsal, I'll get it right next time. And now we've got 20 bars of exactly the same note. This really is quite easy. No need to practice this like gloat. Whoops, we're in bar 34. I thought we were in bar 29, but it's only a rehearsal. I'll get it right next time. We practice every Sunday night in all kinds of weather. You can tell there's been rain tonight. The pages are stuck together. And trying to get them unstuck is quite a pantomime. But it's only a rehearsal. I'll get it right next time. It's the day of the concert. Mistakes, there've been a few. The horns got 2 bars ahead and the cellos missed a cue. The percussion were far too loud, but cheerfully we chime. It's only a rehearsal. We'll get it right next time. It's only a rehearsal. We'll get it right next time. Ba-dum.
Jaquie Daniels, it's only a rehearsal. That's delightful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I want to clarify the meaning of that song. In the end, they're actually performing and they still have the attitude that it's only a rehearsal. Is that correct?
Yes, because
Mhm.
things can go be a little bit haywire during the last rehearsal as well.
Right, right.
So because often when you get to the venue, you've got acoustics that you're not used to, so you've got to try and get the right sound for the acoustics of that particular venue, which it can throw people sometimes.
I'm sure I have a lot of we've interviewed a number of orchestral musicians and also some of them are watching. So I'm sure everyone will sympathize. It's nice that your message is in this particular song that, you know, it's always a rehearsal. It sounds like that you
Mm.
got to accept your humanity at all times.
I guess that could be a message behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice one and an important one, especially
Mm.
when everybody feels, you know, that they have to be perfect all the time. It's quite the opposite. You know, you're not going to, you know, just you'll get it right next time. And if you don't, then you'll get it right the next time. And that's a
Yeah.
good way to be. Uh,
Yeah.
do you find you are a perfectionist, or do you find you're able to easily forgive yourself for mistakes?
Um, there are times when I think I have been a bit hard on myself, but as I've got older, I think it's you've got to say, "Oh, I can let that go," and not worry so much about what other people think.
Now, a lot of people come to that conclusion just by dint of getting older. Is that what's happened with you? Just over time, you've come to be more accepting, or have there been events that have made you say, you know what, I'm not going to worry about these people anymore?
Um, I can't think of particular
So
time.
just gradual, slow
Just gradual, I
realization.
think. Yeah.
Huh. I want to talk about several of the songs on your new album. What is your new album going to be called?
Love and harmony combine.
Nice. And you were nice enough to share a few of the tunes with me, and I want to talk about 3 of them. We already talked about the first one, Twickenham Town. Now, as a music educator, I'm familiar with lots of little folk songs, English folk songs about villages, and I assumed at first that this was one of them. It's Twickenham Town. It's a song, but you wrote this, right? This is not a folk song.
Yes, it's I wrote it probably about 10 years ago. So in terms of folk music, it's quite recent.
Right, of course. It's not yet at folk status.
No.
So why does it sound so much like a folk song?
I just like the idea of writing a modern song with a traditional feel to it.
Yeah, that's nice. It's very pleasant. Do you have fond feelings towards Twickenham, or is there some irony and a little bit of baiting there?
Well, I was only 4 when we moved from there, so I don't really have that many memories of it, but I do remember things like going shopping in the town centre, and playing with the neighbours in their gardens,
You haven't
and
been back?
I remember when there were times when we moved from there, and we were driving near London. My dad would drive right back into the road to show us this is where we used to live. So we did that probably a couple of times. So we had been there back there just to see the house was still there. And I mentioned the address in the song.
Yeah. But I'm going to tease you a little bit. You've written a song about Twickenham Town, and it's not that far from where you are. Why haven't you gone back?
Um, I guess uh, I never had I suppose didn't have a great desire to go back there,
Well, I guess
but
that's my confusion.
although I had there is I mentioned a pub in there called the Cabbage Patch, which is from what I looked this up all on Wikipedia, because there were a lot of facts about Twickenham which I didn't know, and this was the thing about the Cabbage Patch came back on the Wikipedia entry, and it's quite well known for doing music events. So if I were to go back there, I think I would try and seek that place out, and maybe see if I could perform the song there, which would be quite ironic.
Well, yes, it sounds like Twickenham Town. It's in your memory as a distant place, and also it has a nice ring to it. So it sounds like that may have been the impetus of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about the song "Round the Clock"? This one's a lot more meaningful.
Yes, that was written towards the end of my mum's life. She was diagnosed with cancer in 2018, and well, actually, at the end of the previous year, she'd had the diagnosis, but she didn't actually tell us until after Christmas. So that was, I think, my worst moment was when she actually told me that she'd been diagnosed with it and that there was no cure. So by the time I came around to writing the song, which was about the nurses who came to care for her, I suppose I got used to the idea that she wouldn't be around for much longer, and I wrote this song because I was inspired by the nurses who came and cared for her. They would come in pairs, and they would visit. I think we had 4 different visits a day from different nurses, so we got used to seeing them. I have a brother and sister as well, so we were all there for much of the time during the last few weeks of her life. So I had the idea of naming the nurses who visited, and then saying a bit about about their character, and that was how the song, and because it was every day, all through the day. That was how the title "Round the Clock" came about.
It's a very cheerful song, despite the seriousness of the history of the song and its subject matter. Does the cheerfulness have anything to do with the attitude of the nurses that came?
Oh yes, yes, they were always very positive, and they were very kind, and they were talk about any changes in my mum's condition and what we could do to help. So it was quite comforting that they were there.
Yes. Well, my condolences to your loss. I want to ask you, the last song that I want to ask you that you shared with me is All Through the Night. And at first it didn't occur to me, but now it does, that there's a connection between Round the Clock and All Through the Night. Is that a coincidence, or is All Through the Night selected for the same sort of reason?
Well, All Through the Night is a Welsh folk song
Yes.
that it's because my mother was Welsh.
Oh.
She was from South Wales. So, and I feel quite proud of my Welsh heritage, and I thought it'd be nice to include a Welsh folk song on the album.
And that is a well-known Welsh folk song.
Yeah.
But does the subject matter All Through the Night as kind of a watchfulness? Does that have anything to do you think, with the last months of your mother?
Yes, I felt that it it was it's the comfort of seeing of the night sky, and it felt quite appropriate with the other songs on the album, like Round the Clock, and there's another one called The Dancing Flames, which was my mother's favourite of my songs.
Wow. The Dancing Flames, is that a folk song as well?
That's one that I wrote.
Oh, I see. And that you're one of your mother's favorites of yours.
Yeah.
Nice. That's wonderful. So the album is in some sense a tribute to your mother in some ways.
It is, yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm sure folks would like to get a chance to hear it. In a few minutes, we'll talk about where they can go to find it. But I want to ask you quickly about your following. Now, I went to Facebook, and you have a lot of people following you on Facebook. I imagine with your marketing background, you knew a lot about getting a following. There's plenty of people, myself included, who are songwriters and who would like to have a better following. Can you offer any advice on how you were able to get so many people following you?
Well, before I did the because I'm currently with the Female Musician Academy, which is run by Bree Noble. Before I was with Bree's Academy, I was with the Savvy Musician Academy run by Leah McHenry, and she recommended this. It was like a little trick you could do with Facebook to get a lot of people following you, and basically you try and target audiences in countries that have a lower cost, and that way you can then teach the algorithm to get likes at a lower cost from the more from the countries where people are more likely to buy from you, like the main ones being the US, the UK, Australia, and Canada.
Your association with Bree Noble, she works with a lot of songwriters to help them improve what they do. And I was just wondering if there's anything else that you felt was particularly helpful about your time with Bree Noble.
Yes, she has a very sort of down to earth attitude, and she breaks things down into small steps so that it makes it easy to follow. And so there's things that she shows you how to do with like with Facebook ads, and how to go about releasing an album by following certain steps over a period of time.
That's good. Well, I'm sure some of our folks would probably appreciate her expertise. Um, where can people go to learn more about you and to find out about your album when it comes out?
Well, it's my website is at jacquiedaniels.co.uk.
Mhm.
That's JAQUIE Daniels. That's Jaquie Daniels, all one word,
Mhm.
.co.uk. And I'm also promoting it a lot on Facebook and Instagram. So if you look me up on Facebook and Instagram, you'll find more information there as well.
Wonderful. And so will people be able to find the album by going onto your website?
Um, it's it's not ready for release yet, so I've
But they can subscribe to your YouTube channel or they
they
could.
can subscribe to my email list or to my YouTube channel. Um, to if they sign up for my mailing list, they will get regular updates about the album.
Fantastic. Well, we encourage our viewers to do that. Jaquie, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. It's really been fun.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you also, listeners. We really appreciate you tuning in with us. We have all sorts of fun guests. If you've missed some interviews, you can check out our interview with Liberty DeVito, which we did just last week. That'll be coming up soon. And we have interviews with people like Rick Beato and lots of other folks. So if you like our videos, please let us know. Please please leave comments. If there's someone you'd like to see on this show, contact me. You can reach me at truermu.com, truermu.com, or at Willow School Georgia, willowschoolga.com. I would be happy to hear from you. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you next time.